So, grace to you, everyone. This is Paula. Today is the last Martin Monday segment of 2025. As you can see, I'm not in my normal environment where I record Martin Mondays, and I'm going to explain kind of how all that is and why as I go into just an end of the year recap. I'm just going to talk to you just as plainly as I normally do on the regular. And so I just want to share this end of the year recap. I really appreciate you guys walking through this process with me. I've been doing this since August of 2025 when I started, shortly after my wedding anniversary in August. And now this is December. And I've learned a lot in these 5 months or so in doing this. And so I just want to do a brief recap and kind of share some things. So I want to talk about 3 key things today. They're F words, not in the bad sense, but in a good sense. I want to talk about forgetting, familiarity, and family. Forgetting, familiarity, and family. So I'll start with the forgetting part. So grief kind of makes you forget some things sometimes. So here it is. Like I said, I am not in my normal place and space for this. At the time that you watch this, I will be attending a homegoing service for the mother of my accountability partner. She's 105 years old or years young, and she passed away, and I decided to drive from New Jersey to West Virginia to surprise my accountability partner and to be here to support her through her grief and the loss of her mother. And so in that process, I totally forgot that today is Monday. And when I would have normally been doing my recording last week for Martin Mondays, I was doing something else. And like literally, when I got on the road this morning at like 5 a.m. or 4:30, whatever, it dawned on me, today is Monday. I got Martin Mondays to do. So in being grief and being supporter for someone else, I just plumb forgot. It's not that I forgot about Martin or anything like that. I just forgot about the deliverables. So that's my first F. Grief will sometimes make you forget. But as you focus and bring it back in, you're able to do what needs to be done. So even if it's on the side of the road, on the mountaintop in West Virginia. So here we go. All right. My second F is familiarity. Yes, we did forget, and now we're going to do familiarity. Because yesterday, I'm talking about grief, a lot of stuff with grief. Here we go. So yesterday, I had gone to my hometown. I'm originally from Chester, Pennsylvania, my husband and I both. And so I had gone to my hometown, and it's interesting. I mean, I lived there for many years, and a lot of times I go back and get confused about streets that used to be 2-way or now 1-way, and different things look different. And I'm like, wait a minute, did I grow up here or not? I feel like a visitor. Like, what on earth? And so yesterday was one of those moments for me. I was headed to a grief event where I had to both speak and sing. And as I was getting off of the highway, there was a lot of traffic. And so me kind of knowing the area, familiar, I decided to veer to the right and go past, anybody that's local, Yanks. It was like a mom and pop kind of market that kind of set up, in the community and in the cut of the community. And so as I'm passing that where Yanks was, Miss Familiarity, all I saw was rubble. I'm like, Yanks got yanked? What happened? Like, Yanks used to be right there. And I'm like, have I not been over here in that much? When did that happen? And when did Yanks get torn down? So I'm like, okay, looking, driving. And so then I'm proceeding to go the way, and I took a wrong turn because I was thinking in my mind the church was in one location and it was in another one. But then as I got closer to where I was going, I was like, oh, my middle school is right over here. Let me just take a little quick turn and, go wave to Pulaski. I got a whole lot of childhood memories and, becoming a teenager in that school. So I was like, let me just take a little look for memory's sake. And as I turned and I looked, Pulaski doesn't exist anymore. All that was a grassy field, totally torn down. Unlike Yanks, where the rubble is still there, at least Pulaski, the ground was leveled and now it was a grassy plain. But I'm like, oh my God, all my childhood memories, like, what in the world? And so I just began reflecting on that, because sometimes grief wants us to grab the familiar, but the familiar is no longer there. It's no longer available. And so grief reminds us that even though those physical structures and even though those familiar things are no longer available, it doesn't erase the memory. My memory of Pulaski and some of the things I went through in that school, and me going to Yanks and getting my chicken and all the different things, those memories are forever etched, even though those physical structures are no longer there. So I want you to reflect on that as we're navigating grief and loss. That is significant, because we can't lose sight of that. I saw a post even while I was riding down here today by one of the spiritual influences I follow, and the essence of it, he was kind of doing an end of year reflection, but he put two words together that were really good. He was like, just because we experience a loss doesn't mean that we lose. I'm gonna say that again, because that's worth a selah. Just because we experience a loss doesn't mean that we lose. And so, yes, through grief, we've experienced the loss of a person, the loss of ourselves, the loss of a job, the loss of whatever that might be. But that doesn't mean that we lose. So we have to make sure that we sit with that and understand that there's lessons, there are things that we can learn and carry forward, that even though the loss occurred, we didn't lose everything. We didn't lose the essence of who we are. And so that whole familiarity piece, even though there's the loss of those physical structures, those buildings and all that kind of stuff, I didn't lose the memories. They're forever etched in my heart, in my mind, and they're not going anywhere. And so I encourage you today, wherever you are in your grief journey, yes, you've experienced a loss, but you didn't lose those memories. You didn't lose, those things that you hold dear. So keep that straight, okay? That's the second F. We got now we get to the third F. Okay, here we go. The third F is family. Yeah, family. So coming off the heels of Christmas, I think my glasses are going to end up shading. Sorry, because I'm sitting in the sunlight. Coming off the heels of Christmas, I spent time with family. We went away for a few days and just spent time together. And it was funny because one of my friends said, y'all love spending time together. That's so nice. And that made me laugh because, yeah, I love spending time with my children. And, I like my kids, and so it was nice to spend time with them. But I think one of the things that really hit me with family is just watching them navigate. I did post on my socials, like, parenting an adult is so different than parenting children, because my children are 33, 25, and now my baby's 20. So how I parent them and what I do with them now at this age and stage in their life is completely different than what I did when they were younger. And so I said, I love it here because, they're watching them mature, and their maturation into adulthood is a beautiful thing. And I know my husband would always say one of the highest compliments that we could get as a parent is when your adult child asks for your advice and your opinion in something when they don't have to. As a child, they're subject to you, and you get to monitor and control different things. But when they become into adulthood, the fruit of what you've done and all that you've poured into them will manifest. It's either good fruit or bad fruit. I mean, it's based on, what you've sown. You reap what you sow. And just watching my kids navigate their own transition into adulthood is such a blessing. And to even watch, like Maxwell, he's home on semester break, and he has the opportunity to go back to his job and to work in that small period when he's on break. And it's amazing how they pull him in and they, all right, Max, do this. Max, we're gonna make you the floater because you know how to do everything. And to just watch him navigate that, but then also to watch how every shift that he ends, he works at Wawa, which is a convenience store for those that might not be local and know what that is. But there are certain things at Wawa that I love. That chicken corn chowder, whoo, I love that, but every shift, when it ends, Maxwell says, he calls me. He doesn't text me. He calls me and he says, what do you want me to bring home? Or what would you like? And when I tell you, that is so Martin. That is so Martin. Martin used to call me like 3 times on his way home. Babe, I'm leaving work, just to let you know. Babe, I'm about to cross the bridge from Pennsylvania to New Jersey. Babe, I'm in New Jersey now. Is there anything you want here? And my kids used to laugh about it. They're like, yeah, Dad, that's a text messenger. Yeah, Dad, why you call so much? But they're starting to all do the same thing. It's so funny. And it blesses me because I'm going to be honest, y'all, I miss those calls. From my husband, but to watch his offspring and to watch them step into his shoes, and they even recognize like, oh, dang, I'm becoming more and more like Dad, but it blesses me because family and legacy is ultimately the fruit for the roots that we lay. And so I just wanted to reflect today. I wanted to be faithful, there's another F, to doing the Martin Mondays. So I'm sitting in my car and recording something that I hope has shifted your energy and has awakened your potential. So we got both the story and the reflection all in one. And hopefully it'll be something that we can all reflect on and do in the days and weeks and as we migrate into 2026. Thank you again for journeying with me this year, and I look forward to even more in 2026. Be blessed, and I'll see you next week. Happy New Year.